Geordie, Anaïs Mitchell and Jefferson Hamer from Child Ballads. Child 209.
It's hard to keep track of those numbers.
I know. Yeah. So explain to us how this came about then, and where you both kind of discovered this music, and also where you found out that you had a shared love of this music.
Yeah, well, Jefferson and I are both songwriters, you know, and that's mostly what we do, I guess, is write our own songs. Jefferson has a lot more experience than I do with traditional music and plays in a lot of Irish sessions in New York, and
right.
And so, you know, both of us are very influenced by traditional music.
Yeah.
And soon after we met, which was maybe 3 years ago,
right.
We just had one of those conversations where we realized we were both really into the same records. And and that Crown of Horn was one of them. And, of course, Nick Jones, we were talking about earlier, his Unearthed record was really inspiring. And our Clyde Waters is very inspired by his version on that recording. Fairport Convention, you know, Pentangle. The list just kind of went on.
Yeah.
And we sort of thought, you know, maybe we should take our hand to some of these. And we came across a 5-volume set of the Child Ballads as text, and so that was a cool place to kind of jump off from.
Where'd you find that? We're going to Jefferson will be back in shortly. He's retuning, as you can probably hear.
Massive tuning.
Right, a big tuning job going on. So where do you find the text then? I mean, kind of, you know, here you might go down to Cecil Sharp House and refer to all that archive. Is there an equivalent place you can go? Where do you find this stuff in the States or in New York?
I mean, I suppose you could find it on the internet, but we found this copy in a used bookstore in the middle of nowhere in the state of Vermont, which is a real rural state where I'm from.
Okay.
And there it was, and they're paperbacks, and they're sort of dog-eared. You know, they were loved by someone before us.
Yeah.
And so we had the books, and we were doing a lot of touring at the time. Jefferson was accompanying me on some of my own songs at the time, and we had the books in the car with us, and we would read the ballads aloud to each other in the car. And then when we started working on these versions, we did a lot of work while we were rolling down the highway.
It's a lovely image, that. So you know the guitar's in the backseat and the wind in your hair on the freeway, and one of you taking turns to drive and read out the stories of the Child Ballads. And that's really how it happened.
More fun than a cubicle, I guess.
It's great. But it took a couple of attempts, didn't it? Because, I mean, the first attempt you tried, and I think you said all you got out of it was harmony, which was quite a big thing, because your voices blend really well. Did that take time, or did that happen instantly you sang together? Yeah,
well, that was sort of our immediate connection. Was we started singing together, and it felt really right.
Did you grow up on duets? I mean, you know, did you listen to all the Graham and Emmylou things, or you know, we
love Graham and Emmylou. We're covering one of their tunes on this tour, actually.
Are you right? Yeah.
Yeah. And Gillian Welch and Dave Rawlings.
Beautiful, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I love that. When the first time I heard Gillian and David singing together, I was really struck by the way David just sort of ghosted behind her voice, and it was like two halves of one voice. It was an incredible thing to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you got the harmony together, and you thought, well, we could maybe do that. Then you had another go at the record. Jefferson, welcome back.
Hi, thank you. Good
and you sort of got locked into overdub hell, didn't you, on that next version of the record?
Yeah, we did. We started overdubbing drums and electric guitars, and we thought, well, maybe we'll make a folk rock record, but the problem was we didn't actually have a folk rock band. So we brought it back to what we did have, which was the two of us in the harmonies. We did a bunch more work on some new songs, Tam Lin and some other ones, and then we went back and we did it in Nashville as with the two of us just facing each other, recording live, no headphones, and had a few overdubs, and that was it.
Yeah, no, and you've said that, you know, you've changed bits. You've kind of used these as inspiration, and you've tried to be faithful to them, but you haven't slavishly copied every detail. You've changed lines and kind of, you know, you've made it your own a bit, haven't you? What's bushwhacking? Was that the concept of changing bits to suit you?
Yeah. Well, it's in the Child books. There's multiple versions of each song. Sometimes like a dozen. So it's even to say you didn't do it exactly. Well, which one even would that be? I mean, you have so much to choose from right in front of you. So in some cases, we would take an existing version like the Carthy or the Nick Jones or whatever, and maybe work on some phrases that were confusing to us, or like words that we didn't understand, and we try to make them comfortable for us to sing as Americans, I suppose.
Right.
And in other cases, we got bolder, I think, especially as the project went on. We said, well, let's try to come up with our own melody and maybe take the story in a different place.
Yeah. Do these songs get performed a lot in the States? I mean, are there, apart from you guys and you reading this book, I mean, is there an equivalent of the circuit of folk clubs that we have here where you could hear people singing these?
Well,
does that exist?
The child ballads, again, like, you might hear someone doing Barbara Ellen. It might have a different melody.
Yeah.
You might hear excerpts in a song like Silver Dagger. You may go and ask your father if you can be a bride of mine, but it might be in a different setting altogether. So there's a lot of overlap.
Yeah, and I'd say that the American folk music is often, it might come from some of these songs, but be more sort of simplified and more repetitive and percussive and sort of more black and white.
Right.
There's more moralism, I guess, in our ballads over there, and so this kind of sprawling, 7-minute tale with supernatural goings on and curses and fairies and that sort of thing. We don't really run into that.
Don't go into that. No, so it's very interesting hearing your take on it. We should say that, sorry to whoever wanted to go and see you at Cecil Sharp House, that is sold out. The nearest one for you would be Guildford, I think, on Thursday. So that's tomorrow.
That's tomorrow.
That's tomorrow, Guildford.
It's in a church.
Lovely, St Mary's Church, and then Colwyn Bay, Theatre Colwyn on Saturday, and then the sold out ones, Nottingham, Bristol, London. Sorry guys, still tickets for Sheffield next Wednesday the 6th, Newcastle and the 7th, and Edinburgh Pleasance Cabaret Bar Sunday 10th of March. Finishes up at Bury the Mat. You're going to do Tam Lin for us, I think.
Yeah, we'd love to do that one.
Aren't you? Yeah. So this is a song that will be familiar to a lot of people listening to this programme. So it's a kind of, but for those who don't, you better tell us roughly the setting, or give us a sort of the beginner's guide to Tam Lin in 45 seconds.
You want it, Jay, or should I do it? We do it together.
Okay,
maybe.
you start.
Okay, so Janet is the heroine of this tale, and she's kind of like a bored teenager sitting in her room sewing.
Right.
Looks out the window, sees the beautiful far off woods where she's not supposed to go, and decides that she'll go there.
And as she's picking flowers, a strange man sort of comes up upon her, and it's something vague and nefarious happens between them, and she goes back to her father's house, and she's pregnant.
Well, beautifully done, I think. So we don't need the song now. That's told us all we need to. So thanks for coming. No, great. Okay.
I mean, it goes on from there. Much
I know.
We'll leave it at that.
Yeah, no, I think that sets the stage for us. Anyway, beginners Act 1, as they say. Okay, so this is Anaïs Mitchell and Jefferson Hamer from the album Child Ballads, which is out now. And here we go. You know vaguely what's happening now. Thanks very much for setting the scene for us there. And this is Tam Lin.
Janet sits in her lonely room, sewing a silken seam, looking out on Carter Hall, among the roses green. And Janet sits in her lonely bower, sewing a silken thread, and long to be in Carter Hall, among the roses red. She's let the seam fall at her heel, the needle to her toe, and she has gone to Carter Hall as fast as she can go. She hadn't pulled a rose, but only one, when then appeared him young Tam Lin. Says, lady, let alone, what makes you pull the rose, what makes you break the tree, what makes you come to Carter Hall without the leave of me? But Carter Hall is not your own, roses there are many. I'll come and go all as I please, and not ask leave of any. And he has took her by the hand, took her by the sleeve, and he has laid this lady down among the roses green. And he has took her by the arm, took her by the hem, and he has laid this lady down among the roses red. 420 ladies fair, sewing at the silk, and Janet goes among them all. Her face is pale as milk, and 420 gentlemen playing at the chess, and Janet goes among them all, as green as any glass. And up and spoke her father, he spoke in meek and mild, "Oh, alas, my daughter, I fear you go with child. And is it to a man of might, or to a man of means, or who among my gentlemen shall give the babe his name? Oh, father, if I go with child, this much to you I tell, there's none among your gentlemen that I would treat so well. And father, if I go with child, I must bear the blame. There's none among your gentlemen shall give the babe his name." She's let the seam fall at her heel, the needle to her toe, and she has gone to Carter Hall as fast as she can go. She is down among the weeds, down among the thorn, and then appeared Tam Lin again. Says, "Lady, pull no more. What makes you pull the poison rose? What makes you break the tree? What makes you harm the little babe that I have got with thee? Oh, I will pull the rose, Tam Lin, I will break the tree, but I'll not bear the little babe that you have got with me. If he were to a gentleman, not a wild shade, I'd rock him all the winter's night and all the summer's day." Then take me back into your arms, if you, my love, would win, and hold me tight and fear me not. I'll be a gentleman, but first I'll change all in your arms into a wild wolf. But hold me tight and fear me not, I am your own true love. And then I'll change all in your arms into a wild bear. But hold me tight and fear me not, I am your husband dear. And then I'll change all in your arms into a lion bold. But hold me tight and fear me not, and you will love your child. At first he changed all in her arms into a wild wolf. She held him tight and feared him not, he was her own true love. And then he changed all in her arms into a wild bear. She held him tight and feared him not, he was her husband dear. And then he changed all in her arms into a lion bull. She held him tight and feared him not, the father of her child. And then he changed all in her arms into a naked man. She's wrapped him in her coat so warm, and she has brought him